In this video, I'm going to take you through the exact strategy that I would use if I had to make $2 million in the next few years. So this is what I would do and how I will do it. See, the problem with the digital industry in general is always going to be short-term thinking. If you could consistently work on a process over the next few years and you knew your consistent action would kick in and it would bring $2 million, would you commit to it? That's the question, right? Would you do it? The biggest problem with the digital industry in general is it focuses so much on short term consumer psychology. People know that urgency sells, marketers know that urgency sells. We all do. So we focus on the short term. We focus on what we can do tomorrow and with crazy results rather than building something bigger, building something much stronger. We all focus on the tomorrow, the immediate, the instant hit. But here's what I've noticed. It's all about dopamine. Dopamine hits, chasing dopamine. When you jump from one shiny object to the next shiny object, you get that hit of dopamine. You get that hit of excitement, right? That's fun, it's exciting, and you put a few weeks of work in, which makes you feel good, and then all of that excitement wears off when it's not as easy as it seems. If you can relate to this, if you have experienced it just like I have, let me know in the comments below. Now, all of a sudden, a shiny new object comes across your newsfeed. You jump on that one, the cycle repeats itself. Then in 2 years, you find yourself sitting there having jumped around an awful lot, but no further ahead. You didn't make any concrete progress. Happens all the time. But here's the flip side. Consistency always wins. If you identify the right vehicle, which I'm going to tell you in this video, then you just stick to that. You'll be so much further ahead. It doesn't give you the same dopamine hit though. There are times when you're going to have problems and you need to keep your focus. But the reward for staying focused is so much greater. You can hit that 2 million in a few years just by staying consistent. Whereas the alternative is spending the exact same 2 years. Either way, 2 years is going to pass, right? Spending the same 2 years chasing that dopamine, but finishing in the same position that you started and eventually becoming quite disillusioned. Maybe that's where you are now, right? Maybe you're feeling disillusioned. This is the pattern, though. This is what happens. The difference in the two outcomes is quite significant. Yet, all you need to do is the same thing over and over and over again, as long as it's the right thing. That's an important sentence. Now, Warren Buffett famously said, it doesn't matter how hard you row, it matters which boat that you get in. It's very true. In fact, over the years, it's proven to be more than true. It's almost just pure fact. Now, usually what people are chasing is actually the right boat. That's what they're looking for. That's what they're searching for. So when they jump from thing to thing, they're looking for the right boat. However, they become lost in the process. And normally the fear is always of, is this the right thing? Or is there something easier, something better out there? That always gets in the way. This leads to the shiny object hopping. Now, I'm not diminishing how important it is to find the right boat. However, when you do find a system that makes sense and you can see the progress and the process, and you can see other people who have successfully accomplished it, there's no reason that you can't do it too. These people are not magical, right? They're not geniuses. They just show up consistently. All it takes is following that blueprint consistently and putting in the time and energy. The difference is that most people jump to the next shiny object before their system starts to click and starts to kick in. Now, whenever a problem crops up or something happens that they don't like, a bit of pressure, a bit of stress, they jump to something that seems easier until they find out it's the exact same. Business as a whole is stressful. We can't avoid it, right? But we have to engineer systems. If we know that's our weak point, we've got to engineer systems that mitigate that. If I had to make $2 million in the next few years, this is what I would do. I would run this ecosystem, this one here. It's all built and wrapped around something called the Certified Acquisition Expert process, but it has a little bit of a twist in there. This is the entire system, this thing here. Here is your entire business model and all of its glory in one little box. That's it. You have your $7 intro offer. You've got your $27 order bump. You've got a $97 per month recurring offer. And then you have a high ticket back end. That is it. And this is your traffic sources on the left here. Now, the reason we do it like this is because of attention. A little bit different. Now, of course, one of the keys is we want to build monthly recurring revenue. So we have that in here. We want the option to do high ticket sales. So we have that in here without all the problems and all the stress. That's why it's slotted in here. But and of course, the crux of the system is that as you run paid advertising, all of these things kick in, and you don't have to worry about ad spend because it breaks even. That's the goal. So you'll have good days, you're going to have bad days, but over the piece, it normally right about breaks even, which means you have all these buyers, all these leads, your monthly recurring revenue stacking up, high ticket sales, but yet you're not paying for any of the leads because of the system. So that's great, right? That's the concept. But here's the kicker in the world of social media, from YouTube, which you're on maybe on right now, or TikTok or Instagram or Facebook groups or school groups or whatever it is, all that's happening is these are basically public forums where people are competing for attention. It's so easy on a YouTube short or a TikTok, right, or reel to scroll to the next person. Interesting video, great, intrigued by it, scroll to the next person. It's so easy. There's no friction to do it. In fact, it's encouraged. Now, that presents an issue if you're trying to build your business, because what you're doing there is you're in this massive stadium where the person you're trying to communicate to is the person on the stage, and everybody in the audience, those are the ones that are all the creators that are trying to compete for that one person's attention. That's not a very good environment to operate in, right? That's really, really hard. Well, what if we took that person's attention and we isolated it? What if instead of competing in that stadium, competing on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it may be, instead of competing in that environment, what if we used intro products to have a paywall in front of it, and then we isolated that person's attention onto our, say, portal or education base? What if we did that? What if we could communicate with that person outside of the public forum? We've got their attention. They can't on our portals. They can't scroll away. They can't. It doesn't work like that, right? It's educational. They consume the content. They digest it. They're with us in that moment. They're not on TikTok scrolling. They're not seeing the next person with different ideas. No, TikTok and such are platforms that are designed to keep the person on the platform. It's all engineered to do that. So why are you fighting it? Why compete against that? What if we engineer an ad system where we can bring that person's attention off of the platform, isolate it, then work with them and indoctrinate them into our world? And what if it didn't cost us anything because we used this system? That's the secret, right? It's all about attention. We're getting the attention. We're just isolating that attention off of these social platforms. Now, the fastest way to bring cash flow in is with high ticket sales, without a doubt. But that doesn't bring consistency, which is the number one component on this journey to success. What you need to do is have the ability to offer high ticket when you want to, but not rely on this as your primary source of revenue. You need to have automatic payments coming in every single month. So step one is you build up your monthly recurring revenue. You focus on creating the recurring offers that bring in consistent monthly income. Step two, you develop a high ticket service, which is related to this whole process. I'll come on to that in a minute. It must complement your recurring offer. You want to work only in the high ticket space with warm leads only. That's it. That's the secret. We're not working with cold leads here and charging higher prices. We're only working with the warm leads who are indoctrinated and know us, like us, trust us. Life becomes a lot easier, right? All those problems they might have had, they don't exist anymore. This allows you to scale consistently. So as you build your recurring revenue, as that transaction happens, which happens automatically, over time, your high ticket revenue increases, because let's say you convert 10% of them. Say you get 10 buyers, and this is hypothetical numbers, 10 buyers of your intro products, then you convert 10%, one person into the high ticket space. If you multiply that number to 100 intro buyers, that's 10 people into the high ticket space. So by simply increasing the number of people who buy a $7 product from you, you increase your revenue on the back end. That's how it works. That's the magic. So instead of trying to think, how do I get people from a high ticket offer? No, simplify it. How do I get people to buy something for $7 that's worth hundreds? Much easier to do, right? Much easier question to ask. Much easier problem to solve. Much easier thing to sell. So don't push water uphill here. Now, that leads us on to the problem with cold prospects. If you try to sell a high ticket service to a cold prospect and you try to scale it, it's okay at the start when you're catching the low hanging fruit, people with a problem. It works quite well, no problems. But as you try to scale that and you try to bring in more and more and more people, you create a problem for yourself. As you scale, the prospects become colder and colder, and they're no longer a good fit anymore. You're trying to basically push people into it to meet your revenue targets that maybe aren't the right fit. This then leads to delivery problems, which slows you down. It creates fires that are difficult to put out and expensive fires because of high ticket products. And then all that pressure, all that stress bubble leads to you jumping ship into something else. So if we know that that's the case, we know if we stack the pressure on, you're not gonna, you're gonna want something else. Well, why don't we engineer the system from the outset so that you don't end up in that position? The answer is only working with warm leads. If you don't have that same stress, if they know you, like you, trust you already, you're not going to have the same problems. The people just don't react like that. But where do these warm leads come from? Right? You think, great, I want warm leads, but where do they come from? They come from your recurring offer. They get to know you over the months. They build comfort indoctrinating into your world, and then they ascend. Then when you want to, you offer a high ticket service to a warm audience, and you only work with the clients that are a good fit. This removes the problem that you have, meaning you're not going to jump ship because the pressure, the stress, it's not going to be there. As you fill up your monthly recurring revenue solution, your high ticket sales grow. So your goal is to build your monthly recurring revenue as much as possible, which then in turn means sell your $7 product as much as you possibly can. That's all you have to do. It simplifies it right down, and it's way less intense. It's way less stressful. It's a much easier and simpler problem to solve. How do I sell something for $7 that's worth hundreds? Much easier, right? Much easier. This all leads to future cash flow. So how do you do this? Well, it's the same process that you implement as a certified acquisition expert. You build a ladder funnel for your recurring offer. Now, one of the most popular or common questions that I get is, what do your intro products? I mentioned the ladder funnel earlier with the pathway. What are your intro products? What does that $7 or say $27 product look like? Well, the reality is, as I mentioned earlier, it's all wrapped around the certified acquisition expert process. Everything is wrapped around that. So you're a certified acquisition expert, you implement a ladder funnel, which is how to break even with paid ads, how to ascend people, call booking funnels, those two elements, ladder funnel, call booking funnel. If you want more information on them, there's more videos on my channel that dive into them in a bit more detail. But that is the concept. So as a certified acquisition expert, you can implement those systems in other businesses and charge 7.5K for those USD, right? That's the key. So your intro product, your end goal is to get people into the high ticket offer. If that's your end goal, well, you don't want to sell them something about how to grow organically if that's not what you're going to be doing. You want your intro products to be an extension, an introduction to what you're implementing with this process, the CAE process. It brings them in with the same purpose. Now, imagine bringing people in for an intro product that helps them implement a lead generation system so that the intro product would sell the concept of, say, a ladder funnel. And then your recurring offer gives them the software to implement the system that you've sold them that makes it faster and easier, and you can implement or import templates. Saves them money as well. Then you've got a done for you offer for $7,500 to implement for these people who want it done quickly and don't want to do it themselves. So everything is the same. These are do-it-yourself elements, this intro product and the recurring offer with the software. These are your do-it-yourself elements, and then it works like magnetic marketing. So you're not having to sell them on the system for 7.5K. They already know the system because they've bought this product already, your intro product already. They've already purchased that. They've digested it. They understand, I want this system. I just want it faster. That's when they work with you for a done-for-you offer. This is the holy grail. This is how you do it. It's a straight line. Your entire business is built around one system. You've got an intro product, which is a streamlined version of your done-for-you offer to help implement a system. Your recurring offer is the software to implement the system, providing ongoing value and maybe some coaching and also revenue for yourself. Then you've got your done for you offer, which is a high ticket service at 7.5K for rapid implementation and for those who don't want to do it themselves. It's a straight line all around the one offer. So as you get better with one system, you get better and better and better at your client fulfillment, your own lead generation, your own offers, your client delivery, everything. If you just do one thing over and over and over again, all you have to do is focus on one system consistently and not jump from one thing to the next. And that's it. You focus on that one particular system, you fill up your recurring offer. As your recurring offer grows, your high ticket sales grow. This is the vehicle. This is the boat I'm rowing in, right? The demand for system implementation is already high. The clients are sitting. Think about school groups. They don't know how to fill those recurring offers. They don't know how to ascend them to high ticket. All these people out there, even business. Imagine approaching a business owner, any business owner, and saying to them, "Look, I can implement a system where you can generate leads all day long. You don't have to worry about ad spend because it breaks even, and then you can ascend them into your core offer where there's no cost." You take that system to a business owner, they're interested, right? That's the reality. They're interested. And rather than competing for everybody else or with everybody else for that prospect, you bring them into your world with a high value intro offer. Then all of a sudden, you're not competing for attention anymore. You don't have to go find your leads. All you need to do is this over and over and over again. If you did this consistently, not only would you be able to hit crazy good numbers, it's also built on a foundation of recurring revenue. This means after a few years, not only have you hit your number, but it keeps going. It doesn't stop because you stop, right? You've got recurring built into it. It keeps going. It's a strong foundation. Yet all it takes is consistency and focus, following the blueprint and executing daily. This is what it takes, and this is the strategy I would use to make 2 million in the next few years. You just have to consistently take this action, bring people in, and allow them to ascend magnetically. You've got all the offers, all the funnels, and all the how-to. Have a look at my channel. Everything's there. The demand already exists. It's just a choice as to whether you focus on it or you jump from one thing to the next. It becomes a choice, right? You know the direction. I've told you the boat. This is how you do it. You just have to show up consistently, or you can jump around. You've just got to pick one. So this is what I do if I had to hit or make 2 million in the next few years. It takes consistency, sticking to one proven system and execute on it daily without jumping from one thing to the next. You've got to have a strong foundation of monthly recurring revenue built in. You've got to have a high ticket sales element in there as well, only working with warm leads, and focused action. Most importantly, focused action. You follow the blueprint of the certified acquisition expert process consistently, and you show up daily and you execute, and that is it. Any questions? Let me know in the comments. If you like this video, make sure you like it, and of course, subscribe to my channel for more content just like this.